What I'm seeing with the Chargers that's making me think that okay, we got to pump the brakes is really just the run defense. We saw it against New York. Both Jackson Dart and Scatabo were running damn
Mm-hmm.
well. And then today, game on the line at multiple points. They needed a stop on short yardage, and they just couldn't do it.
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome to the Warner Brothas Podcast. My name is Keenan, joined by my brother Kyle, joined by Timmy on a very lopsided weekend of football, a Sunday of football, but also we had some close games here, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Doing well. It was a crazy Sunday of games.
It really was. The fact that there were some blowouts makes it easier that we don't have to touch on these games a lot. So I'm going to run through a couple of these bigger blowout games here real quick. We'll touch on them, but then we'll get to the real ones. So Cowboys beat the Jets 37-22. Jets tried to make it close at the end, but the Cowboys looked really good. It was a game where I thought that they could possibly maybe slip up in old Cowboy teams that were like the 12-4 teams and like those kind of teams kind of would start to maybe falter against those teams just because they don't wake up for them. But hey, they said, hey, we're actually a good team, and they beat up on them. So shout out to the Cowboys for that.
Offense was rolling the whole game, and they did it without Pickens for most of the game. Like, watching him in my fantasy lineup have 1 for 9 for the entire game kind of hurt me, but then he catches a 50-yard touchdown and kind of makes it better. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I said a couple of weeks ago the Cowboys could be scary as that second team in the NFC East. It'd be between them and the Commanders, and I didn't think there really is any gap between the two that you can make a case for either. I feel more confident in that by the week, the more explosive this offense gets. 37 in New York against, in theory, a good defense, what should be a good defense, but still is not for whatever reason. That's pretty tough.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised by it, and Timmy and I were talking about it a little bit a couple days ago. Dak, if he continues this, if they beat the Panthers next week 3-2-1, he's going to start to enter into early MVP conversations with the way he's been playing. He's been playing really good football right now. So shout out to the Cowboys. And I enjoyed going.
It's funny with the MVP race. It's going to come down to 4 or 5 pocket passers. Like Baker, Stafford, if Dak enters, that's 3 right there. And then we don't Jaden got hurt, so he's out. Lamar's missed time. They're 1-4, so that's going to move him
Josh
out.
will be there, but I'll put
Josh,
even Sam Darnold on the outside. I know they lost. We'll talk about that game later. He did have the interception at the end, but he was looking great, and they were a couple plays away from being 4-1. Colts beat up on the Raiders 40-6. This game essentially the Colts just continue to solidify that they're a real team. The Raiders, they're not. They need pieces. They don't have an offensive line really to speak of. Genty has looked better over the last couple weeks, but overall, not much to say there. Colts just beat up. Unless you guys have a comment on the game, anything you saw I didn't figure as such. I figure with some of these we can kind of roll through. This one will probably maybe take a little more time on, but the Texans blew out the Ravens 44-10. This is what, and we were talking about it, and this was a game we were thinking maybe the Ravens could kind of gritty this game up, and you got Derrick Henry if he can run well. But this is pretty much what should have happened. With how many injuries they have, you have a not great offense with a top 5 defense in the league, and then you have, if you are a top 10 quarterback, borderline adjacent CJ Stroud, you should be able to carve up this defense. We've seen every single quarterback besides Joe Flacco, and even he was moving the ball yardage-wise, carve up this defense, and that's exactly what happened. CJ Stroud had his best game maybe as a pro. If you're talking just statistically as a pro, really up there. I think he's only had 2 other games with 3 touchdowns, so thoughts more so on the Ravens. I think the Texans did what they were supposed to do, and I'm glad that they did. Gives you confidence moving forward that they have the ability, taking that fourth quarter from the Titans and then moving to the Ravens. But what are your guys' thoughts on the Ravens right now?
Little worried. I thought that they would be able to at least compete with the Texans in this game, and they did not at any point in this game compete. The defense, it was injured going into last week, and it got even more injured going into this week. I know Hamilton was like not practicing at the end of the week there. I didn't watch too much of this game, so honestly, I don't even know. Did Hamilton even play in this game?
No, he was out.
So
They were talking on Red Zone how like $160 million worth of payroll was out for the
is just
Ravens.
sitting or on the IR.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Yeah, but Hamilton was not playing today.
And it's not like they're not all going to just return. Like a couple of these guys are on IR and they're not coming back for a while, even if they do come back this season. So this is kind of like the 49ers season from hell that they had last year is kind of happening to the Ravens now. And honestly, at this point, I don't think there's much saving it. Maybe they make the playoffs, but it would be as like the 7 seed, and it would be a stretch to get there.
Yeah, who would have thought that, the team that Timmy thought the Texans were going to be, that it would be the Ravens of all teams possibly. If I'm them, I put all my eggs in the basket for next week versus the Rams, Cooper Rush or Lamar, whoever it is. I'm assuming it's going to be Cooper Rush. Put all my eggs in that basket, try to win that game. If you don't, your season's over. We all know that. But if you can win that game and then go into the bye and then maybe get Lamar on the other side of the bye, even though I hate hamstring injuries for any athlete, I think that would be the way to go. And then maybe you can make a wild card run. If not, it's going to be pretty ugly. What do you guys think of this? If, let's say the Ravens season goes all the way to shit, like it looks like it could, the Bengals season's already there. If you're the Browns, do you kind of feel like maybe we have a shot at the wild card since it's only the Steelers you really got to worry about in the division, and they looked pretty competitive versus a good team today?
Probably not.
Probably not. I'm in the same thing with him.
I'm thinking the
not.
AFC South might send 2 teams. Like I could see the Jags and the Colts both making it. And then the West, good chance they sent 3 teams. It could be Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs, and then that's too many. Like they can't do it at that point. They're not going to be better than 9 wins, 10 wins. So
we thought the North was for sure going to be sending 2, if not 3 teams. Probably 1, but maybe 2, depending. Because obviously the Patriots and the Bills have the opportunity. I mean, Bills, yes, but the Patriots have the opportunity to, and then one of those 2 AFC South teams might be able to sneak into a wild card. And then you have the Broncos, who we'll talk about here in a moment. They obviously had a huge win today. They're now above 500. You maybe can get that thing rolling a little bit there too. But so they have such an outside shot. But even if they do lose next week, go to 1-5, get the bye, they're now 1-5. They've got to go only 2 losses down the stretch, which we've seen the Ravens go on that kind of stretch before and get to 10-7. So like, I wouldn't say that's impossible, especially if you have a fully healthy Lamar.
we talking about the Browns?
What?
Aren't we talking about the Browns?
Outside
shot?
No, I was personally talking about the Ravens outside shot.
Okay.
I don't think the Browns are making it. Like I don't trust Dylan Gabriel to put it together for that long, personally. But I was saying the Ravens outside shot because you do have 2 games against the Bengals without Burrow. You do have another game against Cleveland, which will be tough. You see the Steelers twice; those games will be tough. But Minnesota, Miami, Chicago, New England, Green Bay are the other games. So, like, in theory, a healthier Ravens team with Lamar, could you win all of those but 2? Maybe. We did have them at like 13-4, and we thought the losses were going to come a little early to these Detroit, Kansas City, Buffalo, Houston range. So,
hey,
I wouldn't bet it confidently. I'm just saying that I can't put it out of the realm of possibility.
Real quick. The Browns schedule, not for nothing. The Browns schedule doesn't look too terrible. I don't think they'd ever get there, but I think it's interesting if you wipe those 2 teams out. If you wipe the Bengals and the Ravens out, if their season just goes to shit. Doubt it will happen, but Gabriel looked okay. He looked okay. I was surprised. Having never seen him.
So I think that there's a better chance that they could finish second in the division rather than them making the playoffs. Because I still think they
I
can
agree.
finish second in the division and not make the playoffs if that were to be the case. If the Ravens went 5-12, Bengals 4-13, and they managed to be 6-11,
I agree.
7-10 even. Kind of
Ravens going to somehow figure out a way to play barn ball next week and just somehow get that game in a W somehow. Otherwise, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's over.
And that's the Rams team coming off of a loss in 10 days rest. And you're going to, and no, it's at home. So
good chance it's without Lamar as well.
Yeah, and without Lamar, and Cooper Rush did not look great today. But I just want to quickly say on the Texans' behalf, the division, as I do think right now, it'd be foolish to not say it's the Colts to lose just because of how they've looked and played, and with Daniel Jones, the way he's played. I do think the Texans are going to have something to say about it. So if they can continue offensively to kind of find a little bit of a run game with Chubb and Marks, be able to keep Stroud protected enough, and then he can make the plays he made today. But again, against the Ravens defense, anything is possible. I mean, Burrow, it's like the Burrow in 3 years back when he threw for almost 1,000 yards in 2 games against the Ravens pass defense because they were so bad. Had reminiscent of that. But we can move on in games. Speaking of, did we talk Lions Bengals yet? We can barely, I know I didn't, but we can talk about it real quick. Lions Bengals 37-24. What didn't feel that close, but T. Higgins caught one at the end. Jamar Chase caught 2 at the end, so good for fantasy numbers for them. But otherwise, the Lions did mostly what I thought. They kind of let off the gas a little bit. I didn't love that, but again, when they had to force it, they decided to, hey, we'll go get a safety real quick. So I did like how the Lions looked. They looked comfortable. Jared Goff looked great. Another guy who is going to be in the MVP conversation, possibly, if he can continue.
Yeah, Jared was dealing today, just touchdowns all day long, pretty much. So I'm still confident in the Lions. The main reason before today that I wasn't confident in the Bengals was the last 2 games they just really didn't get to use T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. Like, it just wasn't their focus. It's crazy that when you do use them, you can score 24 points. So, and the Detroit Lions, even in garbage time, is like a good defense. So maybe they learned something today. I don't know. I still think Zach Taylor's probably losing his job, though.
I actually think they keep. The only thing I have to say about this game is in response to Tim. I actually think they keep him just because the Bengals owner's notoriously cheap, and I think he's got 1 year left on his deal. That's the only reason. I still don't think Zach Taylor's a bad coach. I'm just not sure how good of a coach he is either. Like, he's probably better than most of the league, but also not like, you can't confidently say that either. I don't know. He's a weird one.
Yeah, he's one of those coaches you don't have an opinion on, and it's not the greatest to be in that position.
He doesn't make terrible decisions. Like, that's one thing I can say.
He, like, clock management's not usually like a problem. Like, he's your standard, like, solid coach in the league. Like, he's not above and beyond. He's not like this excellent motivator. He's not the incredible X's and O's guy, but can do a little bit here, a little bit here, and just a guy. Just a good coach. So I think at some point, though, you're gonna have to probably move off of him. But I'm with you, Kyle. It might be next year. I think the Joe Burrow injury again gives you a little bit of a mulligan as a coach.
Yeah, and that's the biggest reason it's hard to tell how good of a coach he is to me, is because of the injuries. And because he did okay with Browning 2 years ago. This season, not so much. So it's a backup QB, but he's probably in the top 16 for sure. Top 12. I don't know. I'd have to draw it out
somewhere around there. Next, we'll say in the AFC North and talk a little bit of Vikings versus the Browns. I know we touched on it a little bit, Kyle. You're talking about how they look today. Dylan Gabriel looked pretty solid. He went out there. He did exactly what he needed to. Judkins looks really good. This running back class, all Hamptons look good. Scadaboos look good. Henderson, I think, has a chance to come along and look good as well. You obviously have Judkins. Genty's looked better towards the back half of these the season thus far. So overall, I like what the Browns are doing, and they're playing very aggressive defensively, and they were trying to offensively. But overall, Justin Jefferson, best receiver in the league, arguably. I know Puka's up there right now, but still, to me, Justin Jefferson's that guy, and the Vikings got a good win, a much needed win for them.
The Vikings, they had, I don't remember the exact stat, but they had flashed about how O'Connell is like a really good one-score game coach. Like he wins a lot of one-score games. That
It's like
kind of
27
feels,
and 10.
yeah, it's a lot. And I remember the year that Kirk was there, that they were 13-4. They had like 9 of those games were one-score games.
Yeah.
It was like a negative point differential, but they won their division. That kind of seems like the story of their season. Like these games that they're playing, they're getting it really close at the end of the game. And that's like a lot of these games I just don't feel are going to go their way. The Browns were leading like 95% of this game or tied. And then they lose it in the last 2 minutes. So if that's how the Vikings continue to play, I don't know how good their season's going to turn out, because Carson Wentz is not 2022 Kirk Cousins, in my opinion. So I don't love that. But I do like what I saw from the Browns. I think they played a pretty good offensive game. You can see that Gabriel does give them more mobility on offense, doesn't take bad sacks. So that's good and can kind of open things up here, and maybe they score 20 points going forward.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a dry game. Carson Wentz had a dime to really like solidify the game. So shouts to him. Dylan Gabriel, though, he got the ball out quick. Like he looked confident dropping back in the pocket. He didn't look necessarily like a rookie in this game like I thought he might. So he handled himself well.
And a lot college games matter. And so like obviously him playing at 3 different colleges, but playing at UCF and then Oklahoma and then Oregon. So he played at some premier programs and playing for 5 years. You get a lot of reps and you get a lot of game time. So it's like that compared to someone like JJ McCarthy, who's a little bit younger and doesn't play, or Anthony Richardson's another guy who didn't really play a lot, and you're kind of just throwing him to the fire because of his skill set. So you got guys who are a little bit more refined. They may not have the peak, but they do have the better floor. So I think the Browns are going to be a tough team to they're not going to win a lot of games to me, but they'll be a tough team. You have to play them seriously, and then the Vikings will be competing for a wild card this year. Next, we'll go Giants Saints. I like how Jackson Dart looks. You can still tell he is young. You can still tell how he's a rookie. He looked early. Obviously, late he was starting to make some decisions, but overall, I'm not judging him on like every mistake that he makes, because I think he's going to come in there and make mistakes as a rookie quarterback. And with the team he has without Malik Neighbors, you're going to make mistakes. It's the flashes is more so what I'm looking for from a lot of these when rookie quarterbacks come in. And so I liked some of the flashes I did see, especially with the mobility, of course. But I mean, the Saints, that good bad team, doing good bad things. Cam Scatterboo fumble returned, that kind of changed the game completely. But overall, not a bad watch.
Last night, realized that I had the Chargers defense in my fantasy lineup. Went to the waiver wire a little late. The only one available was the Saints that I felt comfortable with. And they start the game out 14-6, and I'm like, oh God, this is not going to end well for me. But then I was like, wait. This is the Giants. They will fuck this up somehow. They will ruin this. Don't worry. And right on cue, fumble, then another fumble, then another fumble, and then 2 picks from Dart, and it's like everything just went out of hand. I was like, yeah, that's the Giants that I've rooted for the last 15 years of my life. Woohoo. Yeah, it was pretty sad. Like, they started really well, and then everything just went downhill really, really quickly. But that's kind of how it is whenever they play in Louisiana. They just play like that. So I didn't expect anything different.
Yeah, my favorite play in this game was Spencer Rattler had a pass that got like batted down and it landed back in his hands and he threw it again. So he had a double pass. So that was my favorite play of this game. But other than that, Saints look good. Giants look good at stretches, like Tim said, until they turned over the ball. But Rattler looks okay. He looks all right.
Yeah. I'm going to say with these first games, I'm picking them first just because we're going to run through them. We can dive deeper into these other ones. Panthers, Dolphins.
Interesting.
You're up 17-0, and you let that one slip away. It was the second worst choke job of the day. because the worst happened. We cannot wait to talk about that one. Probably the next game, to be quite honest with you. But those are the games, though. I don't think that there was really a bad game plan. Those are the ones where you look at Mike McDaniel and might be like, now we gotta. And I don't even think this one's like fully like on him for doing bad things. I just think it's tough. That you're gonna look at these ones. There's gonna be someone's gonna get the chop and block for it, and it might be Mike McDaniel for that.
Yeah, I mean, this game in particular, it wasn't really a Mike McDaniel's loss as much as it was their defense, especially their run defense.
100% agree.
I thought it was just a weird game, honestly. They get up 17.
Adrian Peterson Dowdle.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. They get up 17, and then the Panthers defense started showing some fight. Like, they started looking like how they did against the Falcons a couple weeks ago. It was really weird. They got comfortable down 17, it seemed like. And then Dowdle went off.
Same thing to Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they showed the stat a couple times during the game where, like, if they were running to the right, they had gained like 150 yards, and to the left, it was like 20 yards. It was insane. I've never seen anything like that. They gashed them up. And then the Dolphins even got plays late. Like, they had that deep touchdown pass to Waddle. Seemed like they gained control back of the game, but just couldn't get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Weird game.
I did not watch a lot of this game, but I was following it on the ESPN app because I had Jalen Waddle playing. Didn't expect them to lose at all. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, they got this one in the bag, and then I kind of stopped checking on it, and then Google gives me the notification about, the game finishing and the Panthers winning. That was a surprise to me. So I don't really know if it was like a coaching thing or if it was a players thing. Kind of want to go back and watch some of the highlights and see, but yeah, it's season just not a good one. So.
No, it's one of those losses that they'll look back on, and being up 17-0 to the Panthers comfortably, and you lose that game, someone's got to be the blame for it. And as I said again, I don't think this was one of those Mike McDaniels did a lot of bad things down the stretch of the game. I just overall think that someone's going to get the blame. It will be the head coach here.
Could be the DC though. I mean,
you could get it. This one could be this one could be. I mean, I think you could get a regime kind of front office change. Because I could just see a lot changing.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, McDaniel's done a pretty good job overall this season. The only game you can for sure say like, okay, they weren't ready to play was the opener.
He's been...
and that might even look okay now because the Colts might be elite for all we know. I will say this game. First of all, by the way, Darren Waller still on the renaissance. Monday night and then today, catching all kinds of passes, touchdowns, whatever.
Shout out to Darren Waller.
But what caught my attention this game, and not in a good way, is like anytime I would flip to this game or anytime like I had it on the 4 box and maybe it was the lead audio, I would think a big play's happening because like the announcer's calling the game like his rents do.
Kyle, I think that is the announcer that does the Charlotte Hornets.
I later found that out.
Yeah.
I later found that out. I was like, who is this? It was way too much. It was way too much. It would be like, I'm not kidding. This is not an exaggeration at all. It'd be like just a run play in the second quarter, and you would swear to God it was the NFC Championship game.
Rico Dano down the sideline.
Gain of 12. Like
gain of 7.
It was way too much. This dude was.
It's nice for basketball. It's nice for basketball, but yeah, no, I was kind of with you too, because if you weren't paying attention, like if you're looking down at like a fantasy stat or something, and then you obviously are listening and you hear big things, you're like, oh, what big play did I miss? Oh, I missed that
6-yard game.
Young Rico Dowdle 7-yard pass. Yeah. So I got
I've never seen anything like that in football. I didn't even know this guy called the football games until today.
Neither did I. Neither did I.
He fills in. He's not a normal commentator. This is only like his second or third game calling, but it's only Carolina games.
Carolina,
because like you said with Charlotte.
Yeah,
so.
It'll probably be his last one though. I like him. I've always loved him in basketball, but that was really a lot in football. Just because obviously of how methodical the game can be.
Kyle, if you liked his calling the game, you should listen to the Spanish broadcasts. A lot of the times it's like the exact same thing. They're like extremely excited about every single play, but in Spanish.
See, I would like that. This guy did not. This guy, like, every time I would be like, oh, something must be happening. I'd look over and it would be a generic play or just a first down pickup that a dude was way too excited for. But Espanol, that would be a better watch. I do got to switch to that. Hype the game out here.
All right. The worst loss of the week. It's a Tennessee Titans manager.
That was insane. I've never seen anything like this.
DeMarcado, I've never understood the dropping the ball at the one. Like, why do you need to drop the ball? Just hold it and run with it. The first thing, as Timmy, you all know in practice, the first thing that they'll always tell you, if you're running up the field, even on a drill, if you're just running slants, they'll tell you to tuck it and run for a few yards, just to hold it high and just run. Just run into the end zone. Run with the ball through the end zone. Like, why are we letting it go? It's not a cool look. It's nothing cool about it.
I'm giving the ball to the ref. I'm running right to the end of the end zone, and then I'm turning around, handing it to the ref.
Yeah, or give it to a fan. Or it's just like, I just don't understand. I really don't understand why that's a cool thing. But anyways, from that moment on, the Arizona Cardinals offense couldn't do anything, and the Tennessee offense was decent. And they just decented their way to chipping away.
It was a little more than that, honestly, because Kyler goes out and they got Jacoby Brissett in. So they kind of just they're kind of sitting on the ball at that point with Arizona. And then the most insane part, somehow even more insane than that play of him dropping it at the goal line, which, by the way,
I hadn't got to that yet, but yeah.
The other thing with that is, the other thing I didn't understand, he kind of slows down like at the 3-yard line. Like, I could understand that if you're looking behind you and you see no one's behind you. He starts to slow down, not even knowing who's behind him. Titans player had a good chance at stripping the ball, even as he's dropping it. But yeah, no, I don't understand it either.
Just do the Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase will literally turn around at the 1 and back into the end zone. If you want to be cool, right, just back in, because at least Jamar can see if someone's there. He can just quickly backstep into the end zone. Just, if you want to be cool, then turn around. But golly.
And then whatever happened on that interception with Arizona, after the dude slips, it just turned into comedy after that. That looked like that was cartoonish. He gets the interception, slips, tries to catch himself, loses the ball. His teammate kicks the ball. His other teammate goes to dive for it, hits it into the end zone, and then Tennessee recovers. I've never in my life seen that.
Neither have I.
They had it 20, 15 yards out on the pick initially before the kick, and then he kicks it into the end zone. I don't know.
What a loss. And see, the Cardinals I couldn't get on board with all year. And Kyle, you're right, they do have talent. They have offensive talent on this team, and they have some defensive pieces on this team. They just don't play good football at times. They play good for a portion, and then they won't play good for portions. They just let go of the rope. And they've done it. They almost did the same thing to the Panthers.
I gotta say, this was flat out unlucky, though.
I mean, yeah, you have 2 unlucky plays, but I mean, 1 unlucky play. Essentially, unlucky is not losing the ball at the end zone, and I'm not putting that on the coaching. That's on that specific. That's on DeMarcado.
But that second play and the Kyler injury. Kyler
and
injury, having Jacoby.
That was really weird because it was 1 series, and then Kyler came back. Right, it was 1 series that he was out because Kyler came back into the game.
If he did, it was the final series. I thought it was
because Jacoby only threw 1 pass. Kyler was in for the majority. It was a weird foot thing where he went back and then came back into the game. Okay, I was weird. Anyways, bad loss. But Timmy, go.
Yeah, I've never been on the Cardinals, and honestly, at this point, it's a defensive thing. Yes, their offense does look like it stalls out, especially when they have a lead. But their defense is just, they play bend don't break, but they kind of break most of the time, and it just does not
all the way
work.
Broke.
Yeah, no, genuinely.
There was when I was watching the game-winning drive, there was a not a catch, but a pass that Calvin Ridley almost had at the sideline, and I was like, oh, well, that's it, that's game. And then they went like right back to him for even bigger play and one-on-one coverage. I get it, Calvin wasn't doing that too hot like this season, but you still got to guard him, man. You can't give him 3 yards on a deep ball. That doesn't work like that. That's not bend don't break defense. That's we're broken, come score a touchdown defense. So yeah, I just have no faith. Like, they're gonna lose like that to the Tennessee Titans. They're gonna lose way worse to real teams later on. So
only Brian Callahan could accidentally win a game.
Yeah,
that's the first time I've seen a coach accidentally win a game.
He really should.
Even at the end, I thought he pushed the field goal right. It started going like immediately to the right, and I was like, oh, and it like kind of went right over the bar almost. I was like, oh my god.
I'm also really confused as to why they pushed the field. They lined him up to the right or to the left because that's where he missed his extra point. So
yeah, well, he pushed both. Like most of his extra points this year, he pushes to the right. So if they line him up from the right, he's gonna probably.
Yeah, no, you would think though that you would want to line it. I don't know, man. Every kicker has their own thing, and Joey Sly has not been great this year at all. Even though in the past he has been a pretty decent kicker, but
he sucked overall on the Pats too.
Yeah, no, he could hit long ones on the Patriots, but like the short field goals were not great for him.
Yeah, all right, we've got. Well, I just got to call out. I just got to call out one highlight that Brian Callahan had. He does something one a week that I've never seen. Went for it on 4th and 10 at, I'd say the Cardinals 44 right before the half. Where could just punt and then, they can kneel. Ended up not hurting them at all. But I've never seen anybody go for it on 4th and 10 with like time left. There was probably like 50 seconds left. Just punt the ball there. He went for it. They obviously did not get it. And somehow did not come back to bite them.
It somehow didn't. Like those are the small things where like I feel like the Cardinals needed to capitalize on that. Like they should. Those are the things where Detroit put 7 up on you. Just because
even if they get 3 there, even if they put up 3 there, they probably win the game and literally do in this case with the score. But
so like those are just the little things that I see from this team from time to time, and I'm like, okay, but we've got 3 games left, and they are the more meaningful games left of the 1 o'clock and the 4 o'clock windows. We'll start at the 1 o'clock window, and that is the Broncos upsetting the Eagles, and the Eagles getting their first loss. First thing I want to quickly ask before we talk about the full game, did you think it was pass interference on the Dallas Goedert second to last play where they should have got their last play at like the 4 or 5 yard line?
I do not remember. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
A great answer for you.
No, you're fine. So basically, I was gonna say I was just checking to see because they had the. I think it probably was, and if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm super upset about it. If I'm a Broncos fan, it's one where you're like, they've been playing physical, but we're fine. Because he kind of got him here, but the pass was low and away. So it was in a position where it wasn't like uncatchable, but it would have been a very tough catch. So I get the referee saying, I'm just going to let it go. But if I'm an Eagles fan, I understand the gripe and I understand why you'd be upset. Just because, like, are you kidding me? That's that. But overall, the Eagles were up 17-3 in this game, and they looked like they were going to roll to a huge victory early on, and then they just did what the Eagles have been doing all year, which is stalling out. Hurts threw for the most yards he's had in the first half, and then in the second half, they're just not doing a whole lot. Hurts threw for 280 and 2 touchdowns. He had a good day today. Smith 114. AJ Brown didn't have the greatest of games, 5 for 43. But what were your guys' thoughts on this game?
We were kind of on this game prior to the week. We were like really close to picking Denver, and like you said at the beginning, it didn't quite look that way. But we've kind of seen this with Philly, where they're like a one-half football team, and that's kind of what it was here. They go up 17-3, and then that second half, Denver just keeps scoring points. Getting closer and closer. And then they go for 2, they get that. That was a big deal. I'm just still not on it with Jalen Hurts. I'm just still not solidified himself. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting game. It had a playoff feel, and it's kind of why I eventually changed my pick to the Broncos, was because their defense is real, and they're coming off a good win. But I thought they could at least give the Eagles problems, and even down 17-3, you could tell the Eagles were uncomfortable. You even tell like the Broncos seemed pretty confident in what their approach was. They just weren't finishing drives, and then they score. I think they rattled off 15 extremely quickly in the third quarter. Um, and then it was a mano-a-mano game after that. It's a game where the Eagles should close it out, but I got to give the Broncos their respect. I mean, if you're in the camp that the Broncos are a contender, this would be one of the games you show. But the Eagles, they're just not there yet as an offense. Tim said it on the last episode, and it's 100% true. They're a lot like the Chiefs last year, which is insane because their personnel is much better than the Chiefs has been for the last couple of years. Like, they've got offensive weapons, and they still can't put it together consistently. I think that'll change once we head towards the second half of the year, but there's really no reason for it.
All right. Do you guys think that AJ Brown moves? Just out of curiosity.
No.
No, you don't think?
No. No.
See, I don't think so either. I think
he should.
I think that the only way I think he moves is if they lose a couple in a row. So, like, if they get to being like closer to a 500 team after starting 4-0, maybe they get to 5-3, then I could see them possibly thinking that they need to switch something up. But if they don't, if they're 6-2, 7-1, I don't see them trying to move off of him.
This game, like the first half, Knicks and Hurts both were incredibly mid. Like, they were each incredibly average. Like I said, even when the Eagles were up 17-3, you just never felt confident. So yeah, I mean, I think there's gonna be weeks where they just use AJ, because you would see it in spurts today with either him or Devontae. They try to get him the ball deep, it would open the game up, and then they would just go back to being generic. So I don't know. They have no rhythm at all to their offense.
Yeah. I don't think they'll probably trade AJ Brown. I'm looking at their schedule real quick. The Giants on Thursday night, then they got Minnesota, and then they got the Giants again, then a bye week, and then after that, though, we'll really know who Philly is after the bye, even if they go 7-1, because they play Green Bay, Detroit, Dallas, Chicago, the Chargers, Vegas, and then they end with Washington, Buffalo, Washington. So
Detroit, Philly right now on a neutral field, I'm taking Detroit. On any field, I'm taking Detroit.
Right now, I would. But I just think I trust the Eagles a little bit more, like just a hair more in close games. But I don't know if that game right now would be like close.
Yeah, Detroit's a better team right now.
Like right now, the way Detroit's playing, they're just a better team. So I would say that Detroit's the best team in the NFC at the moment for me. One of the other best teams in the NFC, you got the Buccaneers over the Seattle Seahawks in a 2018 quarterbacking classic between Baker. I was looking at that because I was like, in my head, I was like, yeah, they're the same draft class. They were the first two quarterbacks taken. And now that first round, take out Josh Rosen. You've got Baker, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and Lamar. That's an insane class. Like, with the way that Darnold has elevated his play, and obviously Baker's put himself into top 5 conversations, and then the other two of the top three in the league are Allen and Jackson. So I thought that this was a fun game. Every time I say Allen and Jackson,
it's never Jackson Allen.
It's never Jackson Allen. It's always Allen and Jackson, and then I think it might just Allen Jackson. But
Garth and Brooks.
I think Garth. I think that both of these teams, they look like playoff teams to me, and this felt like a wild card round playoff game. So I liked what I saw from both teams, especially offensively. Obviously, defensively, there wasn't much to be had in this game, but at the same time, the Bucs did make a play when they needed to make a play. They got the W. Sam Darnold on that fourth down, rolling out and hitting Horton for that touchdown. I was really shocked by that. That looked like, because like Herbert had that play against the Broncos, it looked like reminiscent of that, and Darnold was trying to play of the year-ish when you talk about stakes and what was important for it. So I thought that was a really fun, good game to watch.
Yeah, Seahawks should have won that game, honestly.
Yeah.
Elite jersey matchup, by the way. I don't know if we'll get a better jersey matchup this entire season. But I thought the Seahawks were going to roll down, drive, get a field goal, and Darnold gets hit at the right time, ricochets off his offensive lineman. Bucs get a win. You said 2 playoff teams, Ken. You undersold your own NFC participant. They're probably gonna, I don't know if they're gonna cruise to the division, but man, they're
gonna cruise.
They're gonna 12 wins. What'd you have them at? 13?
I had them at 14-3 as the 1 seed, and this was the reason why. I thought that
early on
they were going to be able to compete, and then they have a softer end to the schedule. So I thought that they were going to, being in the division that they play in, that 5 wins was almost a lock. And so I'm happy with it, and I think that the Bucs are going to be the 1 seed. I still think that, and then Baker Mayfield I had as MVP before the season. I still think that's going to be the case.
They reasonably should have lost 3 of these games too early on, like the Texans game,
100%.
the Falcons game, this game. I'm not sure if I can get on board and say they're going to be the 1 seed, because I think they will regress eventually or come back down to some of these games they should have lost. They'll have a shot at it, obviously, but Lions, Packers, Niners, Rams still. There's a lot of teams right there who are.
There definitely are. But the thing with the Packers and the Lions, they play in the division. They play in the tough division. The Eagles, they play in a tough division. The Rams and the 49ers, those teams, they play in a tough division. Like, they play against tough teams. And the Falcons are up and down. And then obviously the Saints are good, bad. And then the Panthers are bad, good. They're like a bad team that somehow play good sometimes, and the Saints are like a wannabe good team, but they're not that good. But before I let you go, Timmy, I just think that this Buccaneers team will actually get better as the season goes on, because they're just going to get healthier. They're going to get more linemen back. They're going to get receivers back. I have them winning these games early actually makes me even more confident in it, because I think that their trajectory is just going up because they're going to get healthier. But Tim, you can go on.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is they're 4-1, bunch of 1-score games, so I get being a little weary on them, but they're just going to get healthier. They're going to get Bucky back. They're going to get Mike Evans back. Godwin's going to become more healthy going down the line. Emeka was dealing with things these last 2 weeks, but he's still balling. So I think this team, I could see them being a 1 seed. I probably won't say that they're going to be the 1 seed, because I think there are a couple teams that I don't think this year's a 15-win season 1 seed. So there's a couple other teams that'll be right in that vein to possibly steal it from them. But yeah, but I like what I saw out of Seattle too. They were down at one point pretty big. It was 14 points, I think. Might have even been more than that. And they were never out of it. They kept fighting back. They evened it up. And then the pick at the end was just kind of unfortunate there. So
yeah, they've got, and it's going to be fun for the Bucs watching this team. They've got San Fran next week, then Detroit, get a little break with New Orleans. Then they got New Orleans by New England, but then they got Buffalo and LA right after that. So we're going to see them against all the elites and what we think of the elites in the NFC. They've lost to the Eagles. I wouldn't say elite, but they played a good team in Seattle today, and they did win. They get San Fran, Detroit, and Los Angeles. So we'll know exactly what we think of Tampa Bay and then going into that last stretch of the season. But last but not least, a team that looked better, that they had Jaden Daniels, of course. It was 10-0, and then they said, we'll score 27 straight. And the Chargers, man, real quick. I understand they've been dealing with a lot of injuries too, offensive lines especially, and then Omarion Hampton, I was seen in a walking boot after the game, but this is why that Giants loss hurts so much. You can be 4-1 and be okay and deal with that, and deal with a loss to a good Commanders team that obviously has a very good quarterback and they're well coached, but you lose to Jackson Dart in his first start ever. in a game you definitely should have won. Now you're 3-2, and if the Chiefs take care of business, now they're 3-2. When 2 weeks ago they were 1-2 and you were 3-0 with a win over them, you're looking like you're gonna almost run away with the division in a sense. Broncos are now 3-2. Chiefs are going to be 3-2, maybe if they beat the Jags. And now you're 3-2, so now you're in a dogfight. You do have the tiebreaker over them right now because you beat them both, but not great. Not a great look.
What I'm seeing with the Chargers that's like making me think that, okay, we got to pump the brakes is really just the run defense. We saw it against New York. Both Jackson Dart and Scatabo were running damn well. And then today, game on the line at multiple points. They needed a stop on short yardage, and they just couldn't do it. They just didn't have the personnel to do it. I know Khalil Mack's out, and that's like a big part of their defense, but he's not really a run stopper. They need a dominator at the D tackle position. Maybe they should go out there and trade for Dexter Lawrence when the Giants are ready to sell house.
Yeah, very disappointing back-to-back losses for the Chargers. Very similar losses, honestly, because they were up in each game. I think they were up 10 in each game at one point, and then couldn't get stops, and then got pretty stagnant on offense, and then I don't know, would have turnovers at the wrong time. It shouldn't happen for the caliber of team they very well could be, especially for their first 3 weeks. That team that we saw, there's no reason for you to lose the way you did or come out in the second half the way you did on back-to-back weeks. Giants, okay, all right, weird game. You're going across the East Coast. Second half, you get a little tired, whatever, and you got some injury concerns last week, I believe. Yeah. At home against the Commanders, who were banged up. And they weren't really doing anything special today. It was a good win. Jaden Daniels played well, but, it wasn't anything to write home about. Of course, Commanders had a great play on the goal line there when Herbert threw the pick. Lineman gets his hands up. That's just a great play by the Commanders. Everything else, though, I thought the Chargers could have showed a bit more effort for the quarterback they have and the coach they have.
It was a dominating win, and it was one of those wins where you'll look back and be like, oh, 27-10 against the Chargers. That's a great win for the Commanders. But in watching the game, the Commanders didn't wow me. They looked good, don't get me wrong, and I thought they got something in the running game. Obviously, Jaden brings a calming presence to that team. It makes me laugh because a lot of these quarterbacks, even with Lamar this year, you've seen him get super aggressive, angry and upset with a lot of things going on. Jaden never seems anything but chill or happy. He's either not even a 3rd and 9 if he misses something. It's I'm laughing about it because it's guys, it's football. We'll get it back. And that mentality is great because it's not that he doesn't work hard or anything like that. It's just more of that calm. It's one play, we'll deal with it and move on. So that's the thing about this team that I really like. They all kind of feel like they're taking the temperament of Jaden, and I love his temperament. Well, is there any other thoughts of this week? Because that was every game. Unless I forgot one, I don't think I did. That's every game.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Keenan, you said you think the Lions are the best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
You guys think they're possibly the best team in the NFL?
Right now, I would say personally, yes. So, because as the Bills are the only undefeated team left, and they're looking good, they haven't looked actually great, and they haven't really they've beat the Ravens on a weird win, obviously, because they had the Derrick Henry fumble and those 16 points. They came back within the fourth quarter. It was the Jets. They played well against the Jets. They beat them. They didn't play as well as I thought they were going to against the Dolphins, and then they didn't play as well as I thought they were going to against the Saints. So right now, I would say, yeah, the Lions would be right now, today, the best team in the league.
I don't think I'm ready to definitively say they're the best. I would put them in the top tier of teams. I think if they played against the Bills, I think if they played against the Rams or the Niners, the Packers maybe, I think we would pick it 50-50 both ways. So I wouldn't say definitively that they're the best team right now.
Yeah, I understand that. I would lean them, and I think all in a neutral field and all those matchups, I think I would lean them. But I would agree more so that it'd be a tier of teams, and I'd probably just have them at the beginning of that tier of teams. Like, I don't think that they're like a head and shoulders ahead of these teams.
I think I would lean Buffalo on neutral field and
Okay.
maybe Los Angeles, but I don't know.
Los Angeles is interesting. I think I'm with Keenan. I think I would slightly lean Detroit. And it's tough to say because they played a lot of like mid-tier teams compared to these other guys, and then they played Green Bay and lost. Of course, they did beat the Ravens all healthy. I mean, aside from, I guess, their defense, but, you know, they did pretty good against the Ravens offense that was fully healthy. Yeah, I mean, they're explosive. They're probably the most explosive out of all the top teams right now. And their defense is playing well. So I kind of would give them the edge over the Bills just because the Bills, their defense isn't great by any means. So I would lean Lions, agree with Tim and agree with both of you guys. You know, like you said, you can make a case for 4 or 5 other teams. But right now, today, the Lions are probably the most complete. And the Eagles are also very complete too, but they just don't have the explosion that the Lions do right now.
When people are watching this, they'll already have seen this, but Josh Allen just barely fumbled at the 50-yard line, trying to hand the ball off on a end around, and fumbled. Patriots got it. Patriots went 3 and out or got a first down, then went 3 and out. But yeah, I think that the thing about the Lions, I think that makes a lot of people feel confident in them is when they get bad teams, and the same with the Bills for the most part. It's when they get these bad teams, they don't win it 24-18. It's 37. It's 37-24, 34-10, 52-21. Like, that's the thing about this team is like offensively when they're rolling. I think their A+ offensive game is better than anybody else's because they have so many weapons. Even though obviously Josh Allen and Lamar, those two guys, because of how good they are as quarterback, you could argue it. But I just think there's so many great weapons on that team that it makes it so like the fact that Jared Goff is not mobile doesn't fully matter. Okay. Is there any other thoughts, questions, comments, concerns that we had on week 5 of the NFL? Okay.
I have one more question for you guys.
Yeah.
We could be quick with it or we could save it for Wednesday. It's really quick, actually. Arch Manning. That's it. Arch Manning.
I think that there's potential there. I think that he's going to have to stay another year. He's not coming out this year.
I think that was his plan anyway, right? As people were saying. They said the Manning's plan on him going.
That was Archie's plan.
It was Archie. I think that if he came out and he was lighting the league on college football on fire, I think that he probably would have came out because he would have been the number 1 overall pick. But right now, Texas has fallen out of the standings. They're not even ranked at this moment in time. They had a loss to Ohio State. Ohio State looks like the best team in the country. They are the best team in the country. So, like, you can excuse that. He hasn't played great against some of these other teams. His best game was against Sam Houston, and that's Sam Houston. And then you go down to the Swamp. I understand that's a super tough environment to play in, but he didn't look good. He did not look good.
Yeah, I agree. He either stays another year or he just isn't the number 1 overall pick. No way. So, but we kind of see the same thing with Penn State. A lot of people had Drew as like a top pick, and they're also unranked, and he also has not been playing that great. So
that's one of the worst. That's one of the worst losses in the last like 10 years.
The UCLA's play caller, brand new, didn't even know how to work his goddamn headset today. They dropped 37 on him.
I know, and like Nico looked like Colin Kaepernick. Looked like prime Cap, 2012, 2013 Cap. It was like, oh, goodness gracious. And they were 0-4. They hadn't been doing anything all. Oh, don't worry. Ramondre Stevenson put the ball on the deck. Put the ball on the ground. When does he need to do that, guys?
Don't worry. He'll still get 15 touches and start next week and the week after that and the week after that.
He has a fumbling problem. Like he's not Derrick Henry good.
7 this year?
Golly, don't worry. He put first play. He's good too. That's the thing that sucks about it. But I'd love
flea flicker. Oh, I didn't get it. Oh, that was another thing. the Jackson Dart flea flicker. Step into it. If
Yeah,
you go
no,
look
he
at
had
his feet, he's like falling off his back foot trying to throw this deep bomb.
He
What are
had
you
a
doing?
touchdown.
That was a wide open touchdown. You go up 21-6, and then it completely turned the game right there. So that made me mad.
Yeah. This has been the Warner Brothas Podcast, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all at Warner Brothas Podcast. We appreciate you guys, and we'll be coming back to you guys again very soon.